Here we are, and welcome back to another episode of the Jonaz podcast. Today, I have one of my best friends and one of the most lovely people on the planet, Miss Alex Drachnik here, or as many of you might know her as Sasha on her social media. And today, I want to give her an introduction. First of all, say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, love you so much, and I hope you're doing well.
I am doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
Again.
course. For those of you that don't know, we actually tried to record this podcast once before, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's weird how the universe happens sometimes, and essentially all of the files got corrupted, and we got none of the content, so God basically said, hey, you need to hang out again, go down a different route, and so we're here to redo our beautiful podcast that never got aired in a much more beautiful way today.
And it's like a year later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we are much different people than we were a year ago. And so, I mean, we can talk about that. We can reflect on a bunch of different stuff, but I'm excited to hear where you are now. And I would say just from what I've known about our journeys in the last year, it's probably better that we're actually having this podcast now because I think we have way more information and so much to share with people versus before we went on these journeys that we went on about a year ago.
Seriously. But we still have the same style, though. That's what all that matters.
Yeah, we still look fantastic. That will never change.
Never.
We're just going to get better looking as we get older. Okay, so I want to give a little intro to Alex. So if any of you don't know Alex has over 3 million followers throughout all of her social media platforms. The way that she gained most of her following is she would do Russian comedy skits, and in 1 month, she gained over 1 million followers, which is astounding. And
Crazy.
Some people think that she's an overnight success, but I have news for you. Alex has been doing like YouTube videos for like 14 years. She's been all over all social media platforms, whether she was working on sets, filming stuff, or doing all kinds of gigs, which were involved in the film industry, but she has put in her work. So there's no such thing as an overnight success. She put in the work, she learned what was going to go ahead and go viral, and she was able to do that for herself. Now, today, Alex Drachnik runs a company called Drax Social, and she actually runs the social media for my business and for several of my friends, and she does an amazing job, whether it's coming up with the creative that you need help with, or whether it's providing a videographer, a producer, whatever is really needed for any of your social media needs, and she's been blowing up with that. She has more clients than she can handle at this time, and I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and so great job.
Thanks.
Fucking keep going, and all the above. But yeah, so thanks for being here today. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And everyone, this is Joe.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's all. That's all you got. He does like lawyering or something.
Sometimes.
Hashtag lawyered.
I mean, half the time lawyering, half the time trying to save the world. A little bit of both. This is super.
No, literally though.
Yeah.
Wait, how long have we known each other?
I don't even know. It's a great answer.
It's a weird, like a lot of the people in that friend group, I all of a sudden was like really good friends with one day. There wasn't like hey, I met you. I honestly couldn't tell you when I met Darren or when I met you or when I met Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is like with our friends, I think with many people in general, right? A lot of times you kind of just fit in or you don't. And especially with our group of friends, I think in the first 5 minutes, you're like, I either get along with these people and we're going to be great friends, or these are just not my human beings and I need to kind of go off on my way.
Yep.
And that's a great thing. And I think sometimes can be a bad thing. I, in general, myself am more open to more types of individuals, but sometimes just people don't mesh and they can feel that and they're just going to keep scurrying along.
It's so true. There's been people that stop by, say hi, and then they're like, I can't do this.
100%. Yeah. So now you're running your own social media agency.
Yes.
And I know that you've gone through some ups and downs. You were working with a different agency before. You were doing stuff freelance. And so where are you now and how are things going?
Yeah, so I have my own agency now called Drax Social, and I was doing it myself beforehand, but I didn't have as much experience. So working at this other agency, I gained a ton more experience. I'll tell you right now, like I was scared to do it by myself again, because the scariest part is like the business side, right? Like I could say yes to like 30 clients, but I don't have enough bandwidth to do that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like one big giant group project, and you have to learn to like delegate the tasks and find people that you trust and who have, but like the biggest thing I've learned though is no one is ever going to be like you. Because I was like, how am I going to clone myself and find another me? But there's nobody else like me. Like they can be good at other things. So that's something you have to really like come to terms with, and you have to find other people that bring other skills and qualities to the company as well. So it's been really good though, because I've had a few people actually reach out to me. One of my producers I'm working with now, we went to college together. First day of college, we sat down next to each other in film class. And then we were friends forever. Haven't talked to him in a few years, but he's been doing film stuff. Hits me up about dinner to go to dinner about a month ago, took me to a super nice Italian restaurant. Nice. We chit chat about what we've been up to. And then he goes to tell me that he's doing pretty much the same thing as me, but freelance.
Rad.
And I was like, really? I actually need some more producers. Like, would you be interested? He's like, yeah. And I was like, that's why you want to take me to dinner. But I didn't know. And it was brilliant, though.
He was schmoozing you didn't even know.
I loved it. He took me to a really fancy freaking Italian dinner. I was like, okay.
It's a solid schmooze.
Right. He schmoozed me. And I'm the one at the end who was like, at the end, it worked. Because at the end, I was like, hey, if I ever need a producer. And he's like, nice. He sends me his like portfolio.
Yeah.
And I knew he was really good from back in college, but I didn't realize like he was also good at social media. The first TikTok video I clicked that he had done for a company, it had 16 million views. Wow. I saw it and I go, I don't even need to look at anything else because I already know how good you were and this is insane. What he did is he did a cooking video.
Okay.
Right? Okay, but like everyone's seen cooking videos. He split screened it with a famous part from Friends where he talks about making a turkey club sandwich or whatever. Yeah. And then he's making a turkey club sandwich. So you have this split screen of a meme, a popular meme, and then the cooking video. And I was like, wow, that's a brilliant concept. So I immediately called him. I was like, I have a really big client I need you to work on with me. And then cut to yesterday night. He was at my house working on the strategy with me. All because he took me to dinner.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? You can't fake views. People see it, they resonate with it, and they like it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then two, to like even hit on like what you said earlier, which was talking about like running a business, right? In a business, a lot of times owners, they want to clone themselves, but the truth of the matter is the best thing you can do is not find your clone. You want to find the pieces of your company that you need to build and then find people who are even better than you at doing each one of those specific things. And if you can do that, the company will grow faster and it will grow in a more effective way than you just trying to clone yourself, because the truth is the matter is there's nobody else out there that's like you.
Unfortunately, I wish I could clone myself. That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, running a business is like, it's like the greatest pleasure and also the greatest difficulty in life. There's no day where there isn't a struggle. There isn't a time that you aren't going to hustle. And people are like, oh, it's a passive income. I'm like, nothing about my job is passive and nothing about any dollar I've ever made is passive.
Right.
I put in the work, I put in the processes, and sure, it might look passive, but sure, I was miserable for like 4 or 5 years figuring shit the fuck out. And now I'm on the other side of things where it looks like that. But the truth of the matter is everything is methodical. You have to make sure you're doing things the right way, and it's a step-by-step process.
Yeah, and I think because this isn't my first time doing my own business, right? This is like me doing it for like the 4th or 5th time. I used to be an online fitness coach, so I had a small business. So I did that for a while. Then I did, I've been freelance pretty much my entire life if I really think about it. Yeah. But this is the first time where it's like, I have people like hitting me up being like, I want to help you scale this because this is awesome. You know what I mean? So I have so many people who are on my side who really want to help because they see the value in it versus my other businesses, it was just like one-off projects. But this one is like, there's no one else doing what I'm doing right now. A couple of our clients, they're like, we've talked to a few other agencies kind of like you, but they're all like 20-year-old bros who are like, oh, I made this social media company, and they don't know really what they're doing. They just outsource the creative and the editing, when I'm like, the whole point of it is the creative. That's why you hire us, because you get my brain. Like, I oversee every project, but I'll have producers on each project, but I oversee all of them. You know what I mean? So it's been a fun challenge, like learning how to scale a business. I think that's the hardest part for me to grasp is how to scale it, because there's only one of me.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me ask you a question too, because obviously you have to keep on top of like trends and things that are going on with social media. Do you like go to forums or like boards or their websites where you go to this, or is this literally having the pulse and watching social media all day and understanding what is going viral and what's not? That's
a really good question, because everyone asks me that. It is just me watching TikTok, and I don't sit there and watch TikTok all day. Yeah. I'm like, watching maybe a little bit and then I'll close the phone. If I just know what works.
But it's also part of your job. No
it's
shame
part of my
in
job.
that. The world needs, in my opinion, I think it's better to be watching social media if you're in marketing than it is for somebody to be watching TV. You're going to really get a feel and pulse for where people are resonating with and needing help with.
Right. Yeah. And so it's just, I feel like I have this unique sense of picking up what people want to see, because it's what I want to see. I'm extremely ADHD. I have a really short sense of attention. And I always struggled, actually, because I came from the film background. Yeah. I always struggled grasping the concept of working on long form movies and TV shows forever, because I'd be on set for all day for 12 hours. And I'm like, I'm never going to see this project. I don't get that instant gratification. And then when short form became more popular, I was like, wait, this is like my attention span. I can make something like this. I can post it and I can see instant views, and I know it's good and it'll make me get better and better faster.
Yeah.
Not saying things happen overnight, but that's the way I work. And so when I look through TikTok, I just know if I see something And then if that same idea happens like 5 videos later, I'm like, oh, that's an early trend. And then I write it down. I go, okay, we need to get on this early trend right now. I can spot early trends before they're like blowing up trends.
Got it. And an early trend just means that it has not become popular and oversaturated. And so I guess, let me ask you this. When you see an early trend, do you think it's something that like the companies like Facebook and Instagram are like, okay, we need to promote this more because people are just resonating with it more? Like, what does that mean exactly?
So I'm talking specifically about TikTok because that's like the best platform. Their algorithm, I swear to God, their algorithm is so good. If a video is just good and it's meant to be out there, the algorithm will push it. And so you can tell when a trend is happening. Let's say it's like a hat trend. We have hats on, right?
Yeah.
Like someone does a hat trick, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. I saw it once. Scroll. By the 3rd video, there's another hat trend and it's similar. And I'm like, with the same song, I'm like, okay, maybe they're making fun of it. And then I scroll. And if I see it a 3rd time, my brain's like, oh my God, this is a brand new trend. Not enough people have done it yet because I'm only seeing it every now and then. Because by tomorrow, you'll see it like everywhere. You'll see I remember when this Harry Potter trend was going off for a second. Every post was the Harry Potter. I was like, oh my gosh. But 2 days ago, I only saw it every now and then. Everyone's feeds are different on TikTok. So I actually have like a few different accounts logged in. I have like an account that has more EDM stuff. I have an account that has more like podcast stuff. And I have my comedy account. So I see a lot more comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And I do that to see what's trending in each different like section or niche.
Got it. So you made separate accounts just so you can understand what's going on all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, that makes sense. And like when you even use the word like the algorithm, like I think people might have a misconstrued version of what the algorithm means. But like for me, right, like you said, because these social media platforms are trying to push content that they know you're going to watch, so everybody's feed is different. And so my interpretation is just the algorithm is essentially the platform's way of showing you what you want to see and what people of similar likes and interests want to see. And so the algorithm is really just people liking and seeing these videos and continuing to watch them, right?
Yep. And then the more you like, comment, and share that specific video, the algorithm is gonna be like, oh, they like comedy from this person.
Yeah.
It's like, for instance, I follow like almost 1,000 people on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
But I don't see every 1,000 person's TikTok on my feed.
Yeah.
But if I start to like a certain person's more, it's going to show me more and more and more of it.
Have you listened to that book, 1 Million Followers in 30 Days?
I have not.
You have not? It's a pretty good book.
Is that book about me? No.
This guy is like essentially, I mean, I've listened to most of it at this point, but what he said, the most important KPI or key performance indicator of any type of thing that you put out there is how much it was shared. It's not the likes, it's not the comments, is how much did somebody share it with their brother, their mother, their sister, and then give it to other people. And he gives all these tips, just really basically explaining like the main point of content should be to actually help the people that are watching it, not asking something of them, not just like demanding something of them, but just genuinely giving people entertainment or something that they want to share with their friends and family. And if your item is shared, that shows that it's truly a great piece of content. And that's what you should be looking for every time is what is the shareability of your item and will people resonate with it? And so it was really a big eye opener for me because I think a lot of times early in my social media career, I was trying to post stuff that was for me and what I wanted to hear. But it's not about what I want to hear and what I want. It's understanding that your audience doesn't understand and know the things that you're saying or the things that you might know. And so trying to do it for their perspective.
No, and I agree. A big thing, it's like your content needs to either entertain, educate, inform, or there's another one. I think there's something like that. But you're right. So, and going off that, like my biggest struggle with, ironically, I can make content for anyone and make it like go viral. But for some reason, making content for Drax Social, an agency. How do you make content for an agency that makes content for people, right? It was weird and I couldn't grasp what to do. And then when I did my own agency, I was actually on like a flight back from Vegas for my like 30th Vegas trip. And I saw this older lady, she's like in her 80s or 70s or whatever on TikTok and she's doing TikTok tutorials, but it was like, I wanted to listen and she had like almost 1 million followers. And I was like, wait a second. Everyone always asks me questions about TikToks and Instagram and how to edit this, how to do that. I was like, why don't I just make tutorial videos? Because like, one, I'm not asking for anything. It's not salesy. I'm literally just trying to educate and inform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I started making those and oh my gosh, my Instagram for Drax Social has started to really start to scale up because people are sharing those videos because like,
Yeah.
oh, that's how you edit a video. Oh, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And then people are asking me questions, which give me prompts for new videos.
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with that. I had a friend once reflect to me that that's my earlier videos were pretty salesy, and people don't want to watch your stuff if they feel like they're being forced or so. I mean, it's the same thing like when you go into a retail store, right? If
Right.
nobody comes up to me and is like, "What do you want? What do you want to try on?" Or like if they're not pressuring me and I naturally am like, "Well, this is sick. I just need help, with the dressing room now." It's a completely different feel. It feels natural. It feels like it's part of your decision instead of it being someone else's decision.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I can imagine that you've had a huge shift when you just started making the videos to educate people instead of just trying to get them to bring you business. Because if you
Right.
educate, the business will just come as a result.
Exactly. And like, it's been crazy. I did a new system too, where instead of you just booking a call with me, I have a type form, which I used to do way back in the day.
Yeah.
And some of my biggest clients are from my type form. So like they have to fill out the type form for me to vet them. So you literally, that means you have to click the link in my bio to
Yeah.
then fill out a type form to then wait for me to respond to you, which I do in like a day or two. Like
Yeah.
I'm on it pretty. And every time I have this system where like I will text whoever did it personally and be like, hey, blank, I got your da-da-da, let's
Yeah.
chat. I had someone be like, oh my gosh, you personally replied. That's really awesome. Like I want to work with you even more now because you personally replied. And I was
Yeah.
like, it's because it's like a personal factor, right? And it takes
Yeah.
up what, like 5 seconds of my day to reply, you know? Like,
No, but you just hit on something that's super important, right? Like everyone and everything, like the whole universe is made up of energy, right? And everybody can feel everybody else's energy, and it's all about your intention behind that energy, right? And it's the smallest things sometimes why people can feel the intention. Like I had a reflection the other day with this, where like I had just settled a case. Whenever we settle a case, I have a process in my firm where my team is supposed to send a gift to the person who sent us the case. But we had a big settlement on a case. And so it's a good intention, but it's not that great. It's impersonal because it's just like a text message. It's not the real thing. I should be picking up the damn phone and saying thank you to the person who gave us a business, taking them to dinner, and people can feel that. And it's like the littlest of gestures go the long ways, but it's all about your intention behind those gestures. And so the fact that you're responding, and like this is why I love Gary Vee, because like he's the one actually commenting and responding on all his shit. And even when it's not him, instead of like him doing fake people, he has a team Gary Vee thing where it's like it's obviously telling people this is not me, but this is my team replying. But he takes the time, and that's why he blew up, because he put the time and effort.
Yep.
And people feel the intention behind every message, every like, because they know it's real.
right. And that's why it's like, that's why scaling this business, I don't want to go like too crazy fast because I still want to be part of everything, right? Like
Yeah.
I love that he does that with the
Yeah.
team Gary Vee. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, too, with like scaling a business or anything, it's like at the end of the day, figure out what you want and why you want it,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you want a huge organization? Do you want to just grow organically? Are you doing it just for the dollar bills? Are you doing it because you enjoy what you're doing? And none of the things that I just said, by the way, I don't want to say any of them have a negative connotation. If you're just in it for money, great, fantastic. That's what your dharma is, and that's what you're here for. If you're in it because you're passionate about it, people can feel that too. What I'm saying is, if you're clear about what you want and you're doing things from a genuine why, like pure reasoning, like this is something you actually care about, you're doing it to help others, everybody in the world will conspire to help you grow and to have more success when they feel that genuine connection and that true inspiring, like just getting behind what you're doing.
Yeah. And like someone asked me the other day, actually my business partner was like, because we need to write a bio. He's like, okay, like what's like the nitty gritty? Like, why did you get into this? And I was like, I just like helping. I know it sounds so generic, but the good example is when I became a bodybuilder, I did it selfishly for myself at first. Hell yeah, I want to get in shape, and I just went through a breakup, right?
Yeah.
But then when I got good at it, Whew. And then when I got good at it, people started asking me for fitness advice, and I felt weird giving it to them because I was like, you're not going to listen. No one listens to free advice. They listen to paid advice, right? Or like they'll pay for it. And so then one of my friends,
I understand what you're saying.
you know what how do I say that better? But you don't understand.
No,
what
you're
I'm
saying exactly too. When you pay for something or when you put money into something, when you have
You
something to
invest it.
lose, and when you invest in it, you definitely listen 100 times more than when
Yep.
it's free. And we also live in an era where there's so much freaking free advice
Dude.
and information out there. It's like information overload.
Who do you listen
like
to?
if I don't spend a bunch of money on something, it's like I almost don't listen to it because I'm like, this is just too much.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
thing is it adds value. So it's
Yeah.
like, so then one of my friends that I was bodybuilding with, he was like, I just signed up with a business coach for fitness. Like he can help me make an online fitness business. And I was like, Yeah, that would be great because then I could actually help people, but
Yeah.
like they'll listen to me. And then I did that for a while and that actually saved my butt during the pandemic
Yeah.
because all film production died and I now had this amazing online fitness business. But I was still doing social media all the time.
Yeah.
And so the same thing happened when, I went viral on social media, but
Yeah.
because I've already had production experience for so
Yeah.
long, I remember the first client asked me, Insomniac, was like,
Yeah.
hey, we heard you're good at TikTok and you used to shoot for us back in the day. Do you want to
Yeah.
do our TikTok accounts? And I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And then when I helped them, I was like, this is so awesome. Because it's like, I feel really weird just making content for myself all day.
Yeah.
So like, listen, if I really wanted to, I could just full-time be an influencer, but I don't like doing that. I feel so
Yeah.
selfish and I feel so just like,
Why do you feel selfish?
I feel selfish because I don't like it just being all about me. Even though it does feel like it's all about me all the time, I just feel like I'm like, hi, it's all about me. I'm perfect and amazing and da-da-da. I'd rather like share my skills with other people. I don't know how to explain
Are
that
you
properly.
saying it's because of your specific character that you play in social media or just in general about being an influencer?
No, just in general.
I had a question for you because we were talking about, the feeling of just like, I guess like going viral and all that stuff, right? Like what was it like? So you created Sasha. So Sasha was this Russian character. For those of you that don't know or don't follow Alex, essentially Sasha is this Russian character that maybe I should let you describe it best without me butchering it. But basically,
No, I'm curious.
yeah, you're curious. The way I would describe it is essentially you're showing like this badass chick that is essentially someone who just does what she wants, acts the way she wants, and does everything the way that she wants in life. And then the way that you cross this dynamic is then you'll act as a Russian that's this badass, and then you'll act as an American that is scared, in my opinion, has like a little bit of a victim mentality and definitely does not do what they want and is worried about what everybody thinks of them. And so you're essentially contrasting, you use Americans and then Russians, but you're basically just contrasting, in my opinion, a badass versus someone that's not a badass. And you're going back and forth and showing these complete opposite dynamics.
And it's basically my split personalities.
Just like your split outfit.
Exactly. No, that's pretty much it. So I've been cosplaying and making characters like my entire life. So it wasn't a surprise to my old friends when I created Sasha. It's like, oh great, there's another character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, the reason I created it too, I basically, long story short, I got COVID my first time in November and I was working on a film set. And so they sent me home. So I was home for 2 weeks straight with pay. And I've already been on TikTok for about like a few years now. I was on it all during the pandemic. And this is like November 2020. And I just remember being at home and I was like, all right, Alex, this is the 2 weeks of your entire life that you have to figure this out. You're getting paid to sit at home for 2 weeks straight. This will never happen again.
Yeah.
I went into this 2 weeks being like, all right, here we fucking go. I'm gonna make the most. I was like, if I don't know how to figure out how to go viral during this time, I don't deserve to be on social media. So I, as any bored girl would do, we play with our hair and makeup and I parted my hair down the center and I did my makeup all dark and I wore all black because on the outside, on the inside, I've always viewed myself as this more badass, evil, anti-hero villain who's cool, shows up on her motorcycle. But I don't look like that. But in my head, that's how I look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. And so I made that come to life.
I mean, look who you are now.
I know. That's the funny part. It's now me. That's the thing.
I mean, you just always know who you are down at your heart.
Right. It just took me a while to get out. So
Yeah.
I remember every time I watched a movie, those anti-heroes or villains were always these really awesome, sassy Russian characters. But they were always badass. They were the boss of the movie. It wasn't
Yeah.
the man, it was them.
Yeah.
And that's I've always been that type of girl. I'm always
Yeah.
woman empowerment, let's fucking go. So for some reason, it triggered me to Google a translator where I put in American, I'll put in an English sentence and it would say it back to me in a Russian accent. And I would just sit there and practice it.
Oh my God.
And at the time, I was
Are you actually Russian?
I am. I'm this much Russian,
Got it,
though.
okay.
I am Russian, everyone. I'm Irish, Russian, and Czech. Drachnik is Czech. But I'm very Irish, so my dad has an Irish passport.
Gotcha.
So anyway, at the time, I was...
if anybody heard that, she's 100% Russian.
Yes. Still can't speak it, though. 3 million people on the internet think I'm actually Russian. It's really funny.
It's good.
So at the time, I was doing more fitness content, but it was comedy fitness because
Yeah.
no one was doing that. So I was doing personal trainer versus fitness influencer.
Yeah.
So I was already doing this contrast. And so I was like, what if I did American personal trainer versus Russian personal trainer? And that's what started it.
Yeah.
if we look back at my first video, which I'm sure my editor will add, it is the worst accent ever. I'm like, hello, I is Sasha and I look for a husband. but I liked it, and that's all that matters. I did.
But you know what? People can feel that you're trying and it's just genuine, and that's what people probably resonated with the
They're
most.
like, oh,
They're like, this is great.
It was bad. I look back and I'm like, the fuck?
Be honest.
But it was 2020, okay? So everything on the internet at that time, everyone's just trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
So, but I loved it. And I was like, you know
Just
what?
trying to survive. That's a good way of putting it.
I was like, you know what? This is awesome. I feel it. And because every other series I did, I was like, So then we go to New Year's up in Tahoe that year.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
was
were all
there.
there. Do you remember that dress I wore? That was a fucking dress I then wore for a year as
Yeah.
Sasha. So we
Yeah,
go
I
up.
definitely have seen that dress more times than
Yeah.
I'd like to admit, but it's okay. It's part of your persona. I'm sure that's how people feel about our hats.
Right.
Like, you're wearing the same goddamn hat
All the
again.
time.
Like, don't worry about it. Get yourself a hat. All right.
Right. But I remember making Lexi and Brent help me film some like Russian skits. And they were like, I have a video of Lexi just falling. And it was like, how Americans snowboard best house Russians. And I'm going off a jump. And I just knew, I was like, this is dope. And I will never forget, I got home from that trip. I called up one of the PAs I was working on a show. And I was like, January 5th, I think it was, January 5th, 2021. Hey, you want to come over and make content with me? She's like, okay. Comes over. And I was like, I'm doing this Russian series. And we filmed this like American versus Russian going to the grocery store in my room. And at the time though, back in the day on TikTok, you could film stuff in your room to make it look real and people believe it.
Yeah.
Right? So we filmed this skit. It's funny. We post it. Whatever. It took me 5 minutes to make. And I wake up the next morning and I had 1 million views already within like 10 hours. And I sat there and I was like, holy shit, this is it. I was like, okay, I've been in this situation before because I've already had videos go viral, but I was like, this is special. Like the next video I make will make or break this. Like whatever I make next, that has to be the continuation of this. And what does well is a part 2 to part 1. So the biggest Russian guy on TikTok who lived in America, he had texted me and was like, I saw your video. We need to collab right now. So I spent all day just like, okay, what am I going to do?
He reached out to you?
Yeah, because we had already tried to collab,
Got it.
I think he kept blowing me off because I wasn't as viral as him. And then when he saw this video go viral, he's like, oh shit, I need to capitalize on this shit right now before she gets too big. So
that's wild. So you guys have like this mycelium network of people that when they see someone go viral, they know that partnering with them will help them go more viral.
it's not even that. It's just like if you are in the same niche on TikTok and you partner together in one video, that will break the internet because especially in that niche, because everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, wait, now they're in the same screen. And that's exactly what happened. So he comes over that day. We filmed the part 2. It was basically me returning from the store with vodka. And then he walks in as my rich husband. And everyone in that comment section was like, oh my God, this is the collab. You guys broke the internet. And then that was it. I was like, okay, I get it now. It's a series. Everyone wants to know what Sasha's doing next. So every video after that, Sasha going, Sasha answering the phone call, Sasha on dating apps, Sasha doing this, Sasha doing that, Sasha running for president. So every video was a continuation series of Sasha. That first video got 10 million views. Second video got 5 million views. And then it was like every video was like 10 million, 50 million, 3 million, 2 million. I think there was a streak of like 10 videos over 1 million at one point. And I was working full time on a film set as a PA, and I had just gotten to the camera union, and I'm trying to up this whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I would wake up 3 hours early, shoot a video, edit it, get it ready to post, go to set at like 6, 7 a.m., whatever, and then the videos be racking up views all day. I'd gain like 100,000 followers in like 3 days. It was insane. And I'm on Snowfall, by the way. It's a huge TV show on FX. Like we got like people with like D. Ray Davis, like all these really big people. Like a week into this happening, I have like the director, the DP, like the head of every department coming out to me and they're like, yo, is this you? And I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, what? And I'm like, so your coffee order, sir, what would you like today? Do you want and they're just like, what? And like even the actors, there was one of the main actors of the show. He was like, he's like, do you realize I think you have more following than all of us combined here and you're our PA? And I was like, so coffee? But then D. Ray Davis, he literally grabbed me one day and he's like, hey, this is how it starts. Do not stop because the opportunities are endless. And I was like, yes, sir. And I never stopped. And that was the last like big TV show I worked on because I was like, I want to do this full time. I don't want to work in film anymore. Like I was like, if I want to stay in film and be a camera operator, it's going to take me 20 years to be creative. Or I can just start making comedy videos and eventually make my agency and do it myself and be creative. That's what I did. And I still have my old assistant directors from that show hitting me up every now and then, like checking in. so how's it going? I'm like, oh, I got my own agency now. Like, God damn, that's amazing. And I used to be like their little bitch being like, I get paid, $150 a day to work 12 hours and like do whatever they tell me. But I never had an ego, by the way. I just was always like, when I'm on set, I'm like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever you want.
Yeah. You're putting in your work.
Yeah. And I believe that anyone, especially building your own company, I'm very thankful that I was a PA for so long and I built my own work, because now when I like hire PAs and I hire people, I'm like,
You have
listen,
respect for them.
I was you and I still am sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, I get it.
Yeah. I completely understand what you're saying. It's like a lot of people, if they haven't done the grunt work, they don't understand. But like, for sure, like same thing when I started my company, I did everything from the beginning to end. I was mailing the letters, I was doing the envelopes,
Yep.
I was the case manager, I was the paralegal. Like I did all the things for like 3 years before one day I'm like, all right, I need to like get an employee and start going down that route. And even now, like my employees, like a lot of times when we're doing work and stuff, and they'll like call me and they'll be like, hey, why'd you do that for me? I'm like, well, I needed it done immediately. I didn't. And they're like, well, that's my job. And I'm like, yeah, but I know how to do it. Like I was there. I was that person at one time. And I think too, when I worked at like other firms, a lot of lawyers would never do anything that they felt was below them, but there's nothing below you. It's like everybody starts off somewhere, and it's also good to just kind of get your hands dirty and to go back and do that stuff sometimes just to remind you and kind of get the blood pumping in that way.
Yeah, and this is where you and I are similar, is like, even though I still have people doing the things for me, I'm like, well, I could do it right now by myself. It's okay. I don't mind. Like, I don't mind. Like, and that's the thing. I think a lot of other people have taught you, like, no, stay in your own lane. It's like, no, I can, like, I know how to do all the things. And that's where the ADHD comes back in. Like, I learned to do everything so that way, in case I needed to do it,
Yeah, but I mean, the other flip of the coin too is to remember this. Like, so now I have 6 full-time employees, okay? And there's also something to remember, that sometimes I should not be doing those things. And just because I can do them, my time, like whatever my hourly rate is now versus what I could be having somebody do it for that time. If I have other things that require my full-time attention that are the bigger picture things, it's to remember that sometimes I feel like we distract ourselves with like the little things sometimes just because we might be stressed, or, like anything, like going to the gym can be a distraction, TV can be a distraction. So it's like, why are you really doing this? Are you doing it because you need to do it? Or are you doing it just to distract yourself from the bigger things that need to be getting done? So that's just a little offering.
And that's something I'm kind of like working on right now. I've actually been a lot better about delegating things out, being like, hey, I need help. Literally, because like the part of the business I don't like is doing all the paperwork, the finances, the blah, blah, blah. I have an accountant now and stuff like that. But it's just like literally like, hey, Alex, can you go look at your email and just look at this contract really quick? And that's like pulling my teeth. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But luckily my business mentor goes, well, too bad, go do it. And I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? But I need him on my side to tell me to do that, because sometimes I'm like, but I just want to go be creative. He goes, okay, well, if you want to be creative, you got to go look at this stuff too. And I'm like, fine, So.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is like now I'm like 8 years in. I'm finally just doing what I want to do in the company. But it took like 6 or 7 years to get to this point. And a lot of the time, like, obviously you're not going to do everything overnight. You're not going to have everything running in a second. And like even now, like I finally just figured out that I actually need 2 CPA firms running my company. So like I have one guy doing specific things, and I have another person doing specific things. And even for like marketing, right? Like I have you doing social, I have another person doing SEO, and then we're going to be hiring another company that does, but everybody has their specific niche. And a lot of times we try to get these one-stop solutions. And what I'll say is one-stop solutions are never the solution. You need people that are specifically the best at exactly the niche that they do, because then they'll get you the results that you're looking for.
Right.
And so, I mean, all of these lessons is just paying attention to the fact that there's so many pieces that go into running a business. You'll figure it out as you go through it. Don't let it overwhelm you, but also just know that you still got to do the shit that you don't want to do until you have somebody who can do it for you.
Yep. And like, I like doing it. But yeah, you've literally basically said, it's like I'm still on the like learning everything and coming up and stuff. But you're right. Like lately I've been like very selective with who I'm bringing on, because I'm like, I would rather pay a bit more for the best person than like, cheap out on it. So like, especially with editors, I was like, listen, so when I put an ad out for editors, I put a higher rate than like normal, and then I get the best ones. I have this one guy who's so good. And I was like, sometimes I might not have a lot for him to edit. And I was like, I will pay you on days that you're not editing just to keep you.
you hit on something that took me a lot of failed lessons. You get what you pay for in life.
Yeah.
There's
Oh my God.
there's no way that I can explain this enough. You get what you pay for in life. If you're trying to save $1, you're going to get $1 discount service. And that is never going to get you the results you're looking for. And if you're always trying to cut corners and like, of course, there's a difference between like wasting money and like, overspending. But like, if you are truly paying for the service that you deserve and you're going for somebody who's quality versus trying to find a company where you're trying to save a couple bucks and they're like 1/10 the price, you're probably going to get 1/10 the service.
Yep.
And so you need to really pay attention to that. And I know it seems heavy, and obviously when you're first starting out, you're not going to be able to pay for those super high quality people, but always try to lean towards those people, because in the end, the dividends will pay out on the other end and you're going to get much better results. It's going to help you grow faster. And not only that, but you won't have to keep firing people and starting over new. And just the amount of time that you lose having to switch to somebody who is better quality is not even worth the money that you saved, because now you just wasted a couple months doing things the wrong way. And then the transition to somebody else new, it takes time. And now you're taking time away from your business. There's just a cascading effect.
Yep.
So once again, you get what you pay for. Just pay for the best and you'll get the best.
Exactly. Also, I love all of our rings, by the way. I was like looking at your ring. This is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm missing a nail, everyone. Don't judge me, but look at our nails.
Nailed it.
Our rings. Look at our nails.
Yeah, look at our nails. Nicely manicured. That's the key about life. I mean, I don't know. As a guy, I do manicures and pedicures, so that's important to pamper yourself, take care of yourself.
One of our clients is a nail client, and we're actually going to go ask some of those questions in public to guys. We want to be like, so, do you take care of your nails? And we're gonna do like a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's just fun. I have a funny story. I did once, because like the clear coating that they do.
Yes.
I did that as a guy. Worse, I went to a nightclub and it was UV lighting in the nightclub. So I'm in the nightclub and I just had these UV colored nails, which was hilarious. And I'm like the whole time in the nightclub, like I'm walking around dancing with my hands in my pocket. People are like, I should have just embraced it and had a good time. But
These are jazz.
But I was like 21 at that time, still embarrassed about who I am and what's going on in life.
And painted nails are very in now. Are your nails painted? I was like, Drake always has his nails painted.
Yeah.
I was like, he's the one.
Yeah, cool. All right, I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
Yes, of course you do. So, right, you have a couple million followers on all the things, but have you met like famous actual? And I guess this is my question. Is like, do you feel famous? But the question is just like, have you met like famous actors like Denzel Washington's, or not that famous, but people that are maybe a step or two below them? And have you ever had this conversation where they feel more famous than you, or do you feel more famous than them? Right? Like, how does it feel to be where you're at as a person?
Okay, so to answer this question, I haven't met like big actors who even know who I am, but this is how I imagine it. So there's like a hierarchy of influencers, right? There's people that are at the top, like Lele Pons, Hannah Stocking. They're like the OGs. Then there's like some ones that are in like the 10 million mark. And then there's like, I'm in the next tier here. So when I meet influencers within the 2 to 15 million or 20 million mark, and they are obsessed with me as much as I'm obsessed with them, that's the same way as me meeting like Denzel Washington, if that explains it. So like my really good friend Storm, oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. You've probably seen her in a lot of my videos. I followed her on TikTok a while ago because she's great. And then when she followed me back, I was like, oh my God, because when someone follows you back on TikTok, you can now message each other and gives you a notification.
Yeah.
So you can tell. So when big influencers start following me back, I'm like, oh my God, they know who I am. That's like so exciting. And then I forget, like, oh wait, I also have a couple million followers, but like I forget, right? And then the best part is we talked a lot, and then eventually she moved to LA, and we've been best friends ever since. Like we can't go a week without seeing each other, because like she's new to LA too, but she's just so cool and genuine and awesome. And like, she was like, oh, like tonight, she's like, let's get a drink. We couldn't film today, but let's get a drink later tonight. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I love that, So I haven't met any big movie celebrities per se, but I've met some of the big influencers. And to me, those are like the movie celebrities to me right now, just because like when I meet the big people and they actually know who I am, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, this is so cool. I love like working with other like big comedy people. But now it hasn't, I'll be honest though, like being an influencer, like I hate saying that word, being an influencer, being a content creator, people, unless you're
but I
like,
understand the stigma.
Right.
I get it. But once again, I just to caveat you, right?
Yeah.
I think it all just comes down with the intention behind what you say it, right? Because Sure, there are people that I think judge others for being an influencer, but I think that they're just judging themselves because they don't have the courage to go out there and be so open and honest.
Right.
And if people are like, of course, I think there are people that maybe abuse and do fake things just to become an influencer, but I bet there's majority of people
like be a fake Russian. What? I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
but you see, but you're doing it for the purpose of entertaining, so
Right,
it is
right,
genuine.
right.
So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, oh my God, dude, it happens all the
So
time.
let me repeat the question. So the question was, did it trip you out the first time that somebody ever met you in public or knew you in public from your TikTok videos?
Yes, and I lived in Venice at the time, so I would film in Venice a lot, and I would always wear the same black sunglasses and the same fur jacket and the dress. And when I would film out there, it was crazy. I remember like when a little kid came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, you're Sasha," and I'm like, "Oh," and I said, "Privet," like, and I went into the thing, and I was like, I don't know what to do in that situation. So now what I do is anytime someone says hi to me, I go, "Oh my gosh, thank you. What's your name?" And I start to get to know them. And the newest thing I want to do is I want to be like, "Hey, let me follow you back on TikTok." You know, how freaking cool would that be? Plus, I
That
just
is
want to
pretty
like, you know
cool.
what I mean? What's really cool is a majority of my audience is all younger girls who are like very inspired and empowered by Sasha. And that is all, if that's all I get to do in my life, I will feel so happy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But lately I've been getting, dude, I was in Vegas last week and I got recognized 3 times. It was wild. Like I was at the pool and this girl's just standing there staring at me. She goes, "Are you that famous TikToker?" And I was like, "Hi." She goes, "I'll be right back." Runs back, brings her mom back, take a picture. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but I think that it's also part of the fact that you're embracing who you are, right? And
Right.
you also are very recognizable now. You have the pink
Right,
hair.
dude,
That's
this is a
like,
game
it
changer.
definitely sticks out, right? And like even with the hat, like this is like part of the thing with the hat too. It's
Yeah.
like people just recognize you for certain things, which is exciting. I mean, like I would say to you, if I was in your position, I would learn some really cool Russian phrases. So when people called me out, just like say some hilarious stuff in Russian or
Like
some cool.
suka blitz.
Yeah,
That's
something.
swearing. That's swearing at kids.
Gotcha.
Though.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Actually, I really need to. I keep saying this. I'm going to download Duolingo and do Russian on there because the amount of real Russians I've met so many Russians from TikTok and they'll be like, Sasha, privet, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" They're like, and I go,
fake Russian. So basically, you're a fake Russian, and people and all the TikTok influencers are calling you out because they say Russian
No, they don't.
things.
No, they don't call me out. They just are like, every Russian I meet is like, "Damn, you're good at that Russian accent." They're always like, "Damn, you even fooled us." And I was like, nice. Because everything I do in all my videos are like, dude, that actually happens in Russia. I don't know why I know all this, but I have a very overactive imagination. And so movies are my entire life. So I grew up fantasizing and romanticizing movies so much, which makes my love life very hard because if my love life isn't like a fucking movie, if it isn't like The Notebook, I don't fucking want it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either, right?
Right.
Like, want the best and want the most amazing things. And the thing is, if you're clear about what you want and why you want it, you can have it.
Okay,
and the world
yes.
is your oyster, right?
And so this is my biggest issue I ran into the last couple months is I used to post a lot more stories. Like when I did a photo post, I'd post a story about like something like going on in my head, and everyone always loved it. It was about much more relatable and real. And I found myself the last few months, I've been getting heavy influenced by friends and people around me. Maybe they're not good friends. Where like people are like, "Oh, don't share too much. You don't want people to think you're not mysterious." Or, "Oh, like you have to have realistic expectations." I just keep hearing all this chirping in my ear. And it was starting to drive me freaking insane because like it had a weird instance with a guy where I listened to too many people about this one guy. And then when I hung out with him alone, I ended up really like liking him. And I was like,
yeah.
and so I had this realization. I was like, I'm gonna stop listening to everyone because everyone's like chirping my ear. No, if I want to romanticize a movie and wish my life is like that, then I'm gonna fucking have it. You know, I'm gonna manifest it. You know.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, people are just projecting their limitations and what their beliefs are on you, right? So at the end of the day, you know, as I've grown and I've gotten more success in life, I've just learned that the best thing you can do is just listen to your intuition. And my interpretation of like your intuition is essentially like, you know, listening to God and like just like basically praying and meditating, right? But like also my interpretation of like what prayer and meditation is different, right? Like I'm very contemplative. I like walk and think all the time. Sometimes I'll just walk around my block or just like during the day, like I think, and I also take like really long showers where I literally like sit in the shower and I'm like thinking. I even have a notepad in there that's waterproof, and I'll sometimes like write ideas in there because it's like the one place where I don't have technology around me, and I'll spend 20, 30 minutes like thinking on things and just like reflecting. And like just when you're reflecting and you're praying and you're thinking about stuff, it will really tell you what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. And so when everybody else is trying to tell you how to live your life, it's just those are their interpretations of how they should live their life.
Yeah.
Let them let you live your life the way you want to live it if you're living it true and in the right way.
Yeah. And like, usually I'm a very like stubborn person too. So I usually don't let people like do that. But it kind of happened, I think, slowly. And then one day I realized I was like, I got really like sad and depressed like a couple weekends ago. And I was just crying. And I was like, what is going on? You know? And actually my parents have a house up in Santa Barbara. So I went and visited them, and I love parents sometimes, because parents, at the end of the day, your friends can be amazing and they'll be like, oh, you're great, sweetie. But your parents ground you because they know you the best. My parents are like, they're just sitting there listening to me. And then they're like, okay, do you want us to give us advice? Just want to be a soundboard. Do you want us to tell us about our Egypt trip? Because they went on an Egypt trip. I was like, yeah. They started telling me about their trip. We started talking. I finally told them like what's bothering me.
Yeah.
And they don't sit there and give me advice. They just sit there and listen. And then they kind of just say like, well, from what we've known you forever, blah, blah, blah. And then it all came down to like, my parents travel a lot. They are always on trips going everywhere. It's so cool. And so do I. And I was like, honestly, you know what I want to do? I'm always doing things for everyone all the time. I'm always doing things for people. I'm always listening to other people, blah, blah, blah. I was like, when is it my turn to take a trip by myself? And I've had a few girlfriends of mine who are like, they're like, you need to go take a trip by yourself because it is life-changing. You can do whatever you want. You can do what, like, learn, blah, blah, blah. So I talked to my parents who've been everywhere, and I've set my goal. I'm going to go on a solo trip like towards like August, September. I'm going to go by myself. I think I might even miss Burning Man for this because Burning Man is a lot of fucking work, and it was fun and I liked it.
So much work.
But it's so much work, and you have to do so much for other people as well, which I don't mind. But I want to be a selfish bitch right now, and I want to go on a solo trip. During the same time as Burning Man.
Dude, I you know, for lack of a better word, it's funny. I was having a conversation with someone. I just don't think there's another word for selfish, but you're just doing what's best for yourself, right?
Yes.
And selfish is the word that's used, but when you're doing things that are best for you, you can be the best for other people.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what do you think I did the last year? I've been gone 9 out of the last 12 months of the year.
I know.
And of that time, 6 of those months, I was alone. I made a lot of people very angry. I missed a lot of my best friends' weddings, but like I just needed to go spend some time with myself, contemplating, praying, meditating, like just like thinking about myself and my life and coming to the conclusions that I needed to come to. And even to like reflect on what you were talking about before, like hearing what other people were saying to you. You and I had this conversation the other day. I posted stuff about my family. It pissed my family the F off. Like, my mom was so angry and my dad was super angry. He had to come to my house and beg me to take it down. He's been to my place like twice ever. And like, cause I always go visit them. And he basically lied to me. He's like, I have something to drop off at the house for you. And I'm like, all right, come on over. And he just showed up. And so I had to have like a whole conversation with my brother media, cause my brother and I are very much on the same page. But what I've learned is this. Everybody has their emotions. You can't change their emotions. Everyone's having a subjective experience. And I've just learned that you have to be respectful of everybody's experience. And I think that just knowing that, right? Like when you do speak about somebody specifically within content is like a lesson that I learned, and they don't have an opportunity to defend themselves. You do need to be careful about what you say.
Right.
And there are ways to express things without hurting other people's emotions and still saying what you want to say. And there's 2 ways of doing it. You can try to do things being completely respectful of other people, or you can just say exactly what comes from your heart and what's just genuinely coming out at that moment, and that might hurt some people. And just, you kind of have to weigh all those things and see who you are and what type of human being you want to be.
Right. And like the solo trip too was inspired by you because you went on so many too. And I was just like, and I've had a couple, it's also my girlfriends too, like very powerful boss babe women who are like, dude, you're always at everyone's birthday doing everything for everyone. They're like, you can miss a birthday, dude. You can miss a thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something for myself. I want to go on a solo trip. I finally feel called to it. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but then I don't book it.
But you're doing the right thing because you're finally called to it.
Yeah.
And that's something about listening too.
Yeah.
It's just hearing the universe. You're going to go when it's the right time for you to go. All
Live
right, cool.
from Newport at an office on the 6th floor, I'm Alex Drachnik.
Oh, fancy meeting you, Schmear. What brought you to this side of the neighborhood?
I don't know. You forced me over here. I'm just kidding.
You're welcome. Yeah, very
It's
welcome.
so funny how much like business buildings are around here. It's just like giant buildings of corporate bullshit.
I mean, Newport Beach is it's got a lot of corporate cool stuff, but it's also super clean cut. I mean, a lot of people ask me, why do I live in Orange County? Let me tell you why I live in Orange County. It's clean. There's no crime. People are nice. You know, I'm not to say anything negative about homeless people, but we just don't have them. Like, they literally don't exist here. I remember I was trying to drive around to look for someone to give leftover food because I'm like, I have this food, I'm going to throw it away. And I literally could not find a homeless person in my area. It was pretty wild. But I mean, Orange County is also the perfect distance from LA, from San Diego.
It is not.
It
I'm
is.
just kidding.
Well, it's exactly 1 hour, right?
It is.
So for me, I don't have a lot of
At
self-control.
midnight.
At midnight. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot of self-control. So when I used to live in San Diego and in LA, I was going out, and the best nights to go out are typically during the week in those
Every
places.
night.
And so I was like, I woke up one day, and I remember I used to live like downtown LA, and I was like, I got to get out of here or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And literally moved back to OC near my family, and I just think family is so important. And if you have an opportunity to live near your family, you should, because they love you and they want to hang out with you. Or maybe they don't love you and they don't want to hang out with you. But nonetheless, you should figure that out. And
I
deal
see
with
them for a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, later.
Cool. All right. So we're back again for our third try at this podcast episode, and we are just crushing it. And where were we? Do we remember what we were talking about?
No, but I remember that. Oh, you said we're going to stop, but we should just start on those questions. We never even got to those.
Yeah. So, okay. So the last question I think I remembered asking you was like about feeling famous. And
then it happened.
Yeah, and then it happened here. And so I believe that we had discussed what you were telling me was essentially that it's that some people recognize you, not everybody does, but that more people in your space are starting to know you more and more, and it's like random, where like sometimes producers or more famous people will literally see that you have all this following, and it's almost like I feel like a jealousy from what I heard you express. Or like, oh my God, you have more followers than me. Like, what are you doing? And wanting to understand that. And then you were explaining the tiers of like famous, which was like people that have like 1 to 5 million, and then 5 to 15, and like then anything above that is like actually what you consider to be like ultra famous.
But also, I want to note this too. Like, people are. I've had people ask me sometimes, like, "Oh, do you not collab with anyone that doesn't have at least 1 million followers?" I'm like, no. If you're funny and I get along with you, I will collab with literally anyone. I don't care. Like, the reason you collab with other big creators is it causes like a disturbance on the platforms. Like, oh my gosh, these two creators got together. But like.
Yeah, you're
I have
trying
friends,
to break the internet.
Yeah, I mean, hello. But I have friends with like, they don't even have TikToks, but they're good actors and they're funny. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care how many followers you have.
Yeah.
If you're just a good person, we'll get along.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a couple videos with you, and I never had more than a couple thousand followers. So that's a testament from somebody here right now, right meow.
He and I did a video together, American vs. Russian Lawyers, and I think it had like 500,000 views. It crushed.
Oh, nice.
It crushed. Cool. We got to redo those.
Sick. Yeah,
We'll
or maybe just need time to repost them.
No, because I look completely different, and people can tell.
Got it. They'll be judging you.
Not even. I just don't like posting old videos without the pink hair anymore.
Gotcha.
The comments go, "Did you dye your hair back?" And I'm like, "No, everyone, calm down."
Right, because a lot of people think that the content is real time.
Yes.
That's a big thing too. Like for right now, I've been posting a lot of stuff for my trip that I went on last year, and people are like messaging me. They're like, "You went back to Italy? Are you in Italy right now? What do you mean?" I'm like, "No, I got around to editing it right meow." So that's about it.
Meow.
Yeah, right meow. Yeah, cool.
That's so
all right. So, who would you say are the 2 coolest people that you've met on this TikTok journey, and why?
Ooh, okay. Let me think about that for a sec. I know. Other than you, I was gonna say you, but that was like obviously too obvious. Okay, the first person. I mean, honestly, my friend Nicole, Drinkwater. She's my British friend that you guys have seen.
Dude, I love her. Her not safe for feminist videos.
Yeah, not safe for females now is what it's called.
Not safe for females. Got it.
She's funny.
Yeah, she is really funny. She just like says it the way that nobody wants to hear it,
exactly.
but it's just the truth. Yeah.
Sometimes I hate some of them because I'm like, ugh, but because I'm such a like feminist. But some of them I'm like, it's fucking true, you know?
Yeah.
But her and I met at the Wish House, and the Wish House was like 2 summers ago. It was like the most poppin' content house. It was so big that you could have multiple people shooting at the same time, and sound wasn't an issue. It was like a paradise. It was like anyone could be there. And I remember one day she was there, and one of my friends grabbed me. She's like, "Can you be in a video?" And I was like, "Sure." And then she's like, "How about that girl?" I was like, "I don't know, just ask her." Like, I didn't know this girl. She was in the video, and I didn't really know her yet. And then the next day, everyone's like, "Who was that girl?" No one can find her TikTok or Instagram. And I found it, and then I saw her again, and we talked a little bit. And then by the 3rd time, because when you're collabing, you're not really having conversations. It's like work, but fun work.
Yeah.
And by the 3rd time, we got to talking, and we realized we were so similar, and we just like, boom, became like really good friends, like instantly.
Right.
And she, you know, she's lived in Dubai for 8 years.
Yeah.
She's technically she's from England, but like is Dubai citizen, you know?
Yeah.
And then so she's
For
only,
tax purposes.
and for rich husband purposes.
Many
no.
rich husbands. Many rich husbands.
No, but because she doesn't have citizenship here, she can
Yeah.
only come here for 3 months at a time, and then she goes back and forth. But
I didn't know that.
yeah, so that's been like the last 2 years that she's always
Yeah.
back and forth, back and forth. But she was someone awesome that I met through the TikTok space who like, honestly, she has an awesome sleeve tattoo. And like, I've always wanted to start my sleeve, but I was like waiting. And I remember one day we're in the car, she's like, what are you waiting for? And I was like, you know, I don't know. I think I was waiting for someone to ask me that. And then I literally started my sleeve like literally that next month, which you can see here.
Yeah.
But it was like,
The time is now.
yeah, but like she's awesome because she's very like carefree and fun. And like when we would go out, we're like, my favorite thing about her too is aesthetically, we look completely opposite. She dresses like white shirts, jeans. She's very like, what's up? And I'm over here like, hi, I just came back from the vampire ball. I just woke up from my crypt, you know? Like, but we get along so well. So I think it's like really fun. I truly believe like opposites attract.
Yeah.
So that's one person.
Yeah. Well, before you get into the second person, I had a question.
an
So
answer.
like you talked about the like Wish House and like all these
Yes.
influencer houses. So do you just like get to a certain point of like being TikTok famous, and then does TikTok reach out to you and just say, hey, we have a house, you're more than welcome to come film here, or how does that work?
That's so funny. TikTok does not give a fuck about you.
Okay, got it. So these houses are not sponsored by TikTok.
They're all just like big creators. There's
Okay.
like, you know, the main one that was the OG one was the Hype House. Bunch of big creators got together, lived in this mansion together. The mansion basically sponsored it. They said, hey, if you live in this house for free and you make content in the house, about the house, blah, 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 they sponsor it obviously because like these creators are huge. And it's just a way, it's like being in a fraternity house, right? You have this community, you're all making content together, you're all collabing together, and you become this exclusive house. So the Wish House is a little different because the Hype House is what people lived in. The Wish House was straight up like a content house. You had to have a certain amount of followers and you had to know someone. Like, you know, I got a call one day, hey,
How many followers?
probably over 1 million.
Okay.
And if you're under, they'll like, all right, you're fine. You know what I mean? As long as you're like cool and like make good content, you're not annoying and don't have any like issues. But my friend was shooting there. I hit him up one day.
There's a lot of those people.
Oh, there's so many issues with creators. But my friend was shooting at the Wish House and I hit him up one day and then he recommended me and then I showed up and I'm really good. I'm just like you. I'm good at like schmoozing people and making people just feel like really welcome. So like I always go out of my way to like talk to them, get their number, thank them a lot because I'm like, I want to come back and I want to invite more people. So I want you to trust me. And then I started shooting there and like, I've always been known in our group of creative friends. I'm the one who's like always planning the content days. I'm always the one that's bringing people together because I'm like, I just know all the different people that want to and no one else is going to do it. Someone needs a leader. So I was always the one like, hey, I got creator X, Y, and Z. They got 500 or 5 million. They got 7 million. Can they come? And the catch with the Wish House is all you have to do is like post a story and tag them or like, the rules started to get really crazy where they're like, now you have to make a sponsored post. And then that's when the downfall of the house and the house disappeared.
Gotcha. And a sponsored post means like, what's the difference between like a sponsored post and just a normal post? Why do you think that if it went down, like, why is it that bad thing?
Okay. If I go to a content house to make content, I'm not making content for the brand. I'm going to a house to make content for myself, right? Like I want to make funny content. If you as the brand are saying, hey, if you want to come to our house, you have to make a video for us about our brand. I was like, then what's the point of coming? That's a brand deal without getting paid for it.
Got it. But I mean, like technically, in my perspective, is they are paying you by giving you the space to go ahead and
Right, but now they're asking me to shoot a video. All the videos I shoot for them have to be sponsored, so it doesn't make any sense. Why would I go to the house to shoot my own content when every video is just sponsored? So, and I think Wish just wasn't able to keep up with that.
Well, I guess I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
So like if you make the post, right, and it's sponsored, sponsored means that you click and say that it's sponsored, and then you have to say who the sponsor is.
When I say sponsored, it's like, hey, use a Wish product in your video and tag Wish. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, you're not gonna do that.
For every video.
No, I thought it was just like you just mark that it's sponsored and just say that Wish is the sponsor.
No, the
but the fact
physical
they want you
video.
to use like an actual product too, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of all ended. But it was a good run. We missed those days. Like I was there like 3 or 4 days a week during the summer. It was so epic.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of your stories, and you were always hanging out with like 20 different influencers. I mean, like just from being on social media, like I knew most of the people on there. And they're all. It's wild that they just all like range, right? Because I know Law by Mike, and I would see him there, and that's obviously just being a lawyer. He's the most famous lawyer on the internet. And then I would see
No, you are.
Well, soon to be.
Soon.
And then you had like a gymnast, then you had like these girls that like I see this wide range, and it was fun to watch you guys collab in different ways, even though sometimes there was not, I would say, clear crossing of ideas.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what happens when you just get into a space and you think and you try to create together.
Right. And the whole point of a content house is you get to collab with people that you wouldn't necessarily like hit up. Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, like everything I've done, nothing has ever been like TikTok sponsored. It's more like me being a creative. If I see a cool creator that I really like, I will DM them and go, hey, you're funny. We should collab.
Yeah.
I get a lot of them too, but that's how I've met a majority of like Tori, who's another one of my favorite creators, and Storm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're the ones that do There's Vodka for that series.
Yeah.
There's Vodka for that. And the three of us together, we're like this trio. We're this powerhouse trio. Like every time we do that video, it hits 1 million at least.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I would say both of them are my other two big inspos. Tori is so funny. She's Canadian Russian. And she's just, you know what I love about creators? People think these creators look, they look super hot and pretty and stuff, and you think they're gonna be bitches, right? But it's like, yo, they're creators. They make comedy and they make fun of themselves for a living. They're obviously gonna have a funny personality.
Yeah.
So both Tori and Storm, hot as fuck. Like they're so hot. They are so funny. They have personalities, and all three of us get along so well. So like, it's really cool. Like I've met so many friends literally because of the internet, And back then, that used to be scary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it can be. Don't talk to strangers, right?
I do that all the time.
That's good. All right, and so you were going into the second person that you.
Those are
enjoyed?
the other two, I
Those are the
guess.
other two,
Yeah.
those girls.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And what about them makes them so interesting?
As I said, like they're so creative. Like Storm plays this bimbo, like dumb blonde, and then when
I think I know exactly. Who you're
she's
talking
the
about.
redhead.
Yeah.
She is. She looks like a doll.
Yeah.
When I met her, obviously when you meet people in person, you're obviously gonna think what they post on the internet could be real. When I met her in person, she's brilliant. She's super smart. She just moved from Arizona to LA too, so that we immediately connected.
Yeah.
Immediately. And she's just so down to earth, and like everyone always tells me, they're like, Alex, like what I love about you is you're just so down to earth, and like I can talk to you and you're not fake and da-da-da. Because everyone who just moves to LA thinks that about everyone in LA, that they're fake.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I mean, even though I'm like, you look like a fake doll, but I can talk to you about anything. Like the first time we hung out, which I really like, is I asked her, I was like, hey, it was like right before my birthday. I was like, hey, do you want to come out with us and get a drink? Do you drink? Because a lot of creators don't drink. They're all like younger, or not even that young, but they just don't drink. They didn't grow up the same way you
Somewhere
and I
under
did.
21 is what you're saying?
No, that's the thing. They're all like 23 to now, like 21 to 25, but like a lot of them don't drink because they all like skipped college and just started becoming creators. So they kind of skipped the college experience versus me. I was like the college girl, like I drank in college. I was the college girl, and then I was a creator.
Yeah. I understand. I was a frat all-star.
Right. I was the frat all-star, but I was a girl and I could outdrink all the guys. Like, what's new? But so when I asked her to come out and drink with us, she's like, yeah, I'm down, and had the best time ever. And she's one of those friends she can talk to my other friends. I don't have to babysit her the entire time, which is the most important thing in a friendship for me. If I can take you somewhere and you can bond with other people while I go talk to my other people, and then we come back and have a good time together, I'm like, thank God, I don't have to babysit you. But our first time hanging out was getting drunk on a Thursday around Santa Monica, and I thought that was awesome because it wasn't just creators. Because like when it's all creators, you're usually just creating, and you don't hang outside of that.
Yeah.
But like we actually did. And then she loves video games and stuff, and like I love video games. I obviously don't sit there and play them all the time, but I'm a huge GameCube kid. Like played Smash Brothers. She's obsessed. So one day it was raining. I was like, hey, you just want to play games? And she's like, I love you so much. So I came over and we just like played video games all day. Like I haven't done that with like a girlfriend in so long. It was like really nice, and like it was just like different than just like drinking or making content. That's all we do, or go to festivals, So it was like nice to just like relax for a sec.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've made some actual real friends throughout this process, and that not everybody is fake. Like, I don't know, I guess I've had conversations where people talk about influencers and like, well, that person might just be fake, or they might just be like, not a good person. But realistically, it's almost like some of you are actors, right? And when you're on set, you are an actor, and it's like Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp, but they play different characters, right? But for you guys, you typically have one character,
right?
And so you play that character, but in real life, it sounds like you guys are amazing human beings. For me, I feel that the more famous, or the more famous that somebody is, I feel like they're usually kinder, because it's like that many people like you. Like, how can you be fake and like not people see? People
Yes.
will see if you're fake.
Yep.
And so my guess is that the more famous you are, typically it means that the kinder and like cooler you are, or maybe you're just the fullest embodiment of who you are as a person, and people resonate with that.
Yeah. And it's something you said, whatever, I forgot what you said, but people love to misjudge me. I get that. I've gotten that a lot recently because I am very eccentric and wild and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we went to Ibiza last summer, and I was obviously part of the Ibiza trip, and there was only one person I didn't know. It was like someone's fiance. And like 2 days or 3 days into the trip, he comes up to me. He goes, you know, you're awesome. I totally misjudged you. And I was like, let me hear it. And he goes, well, when I heard they were inviting an influencer, because one of my friends like, oh, we're inviting Alex. And then when he looked me up, he obviously saw whatever. He's like, when I heard that they were inviting an influencer, I was like, why would this group invite an influencer? Oh, she's probably full of herself, but whatever. You know, he thought this about me just because like he heard that word. And then when he met me, he was like, wow, I was so wrong. He's like, I was really judging why our friends would invite someone like you, but now I'm like, oh, you're like one of the coolest people. And I was like, this happens a lot. It happened recently, and I can't really remember exactly how it happened, but I just remember that one, and I was like, I don't take any offense to it. It's fine. Like it happens.
I mean, the reflection that I'm like feeling is that I feel that people don't like the word influencer, right? And I think that the word influencer, if it's done from a positive and like true place, it is a great word, right? You're trying to positive influence. But I feel that many people can not like this word because maybe they are sad, or they wish that they had the courage to be the fullest expression of themselves, and especially online to the entire planet, right? Because it is very brave, and it takes a lot of courage to be the truest expression of who you are. And not only that, but sometimes playing a character and doing things just to cheer other people up. And so I feel that I for sure have like judged influencers in the past because I was just like jealous. If anything, I wasn't like judging them in negative way. I was like more just jealous of you guys because I'm like, shit, why don't people want to hear what I have to say? Why don't they resonate what I'm thinking? It's because I just wasn't able to live the truest expression of myself putting on the internet. And it's like almost like when I was growing up, I put this fake version of like what's going on. You don't want to say the true stuff. You don't want to put all the hard stuff and what's going on. And as you do that, I think you begin to influence more and more people because you're just being the most authentic form of yourself.
Yes. And like we've had similar journeys at different times. It's funny, like, because my biggest thing was like I wasn't being my authentic self. And I learned that during COVID. COVID was like huge because I turned 27 during COVID. So it was like, I remember at 27, I was like, I should work on myself now, And I remember I was still an online fitness coach then. And my business mentor was big in the mental health space. And I wasn't getting as many clients as I wanted. And he's like, Alex, that's because all you're doing is posting perfect pictures of yourself. And like, you're not sharing like deeper things. And I was like, oh yeah, I think that way in my head, but I never shared it because I was like, well, who would want to hear that? Like there's worse problems in the world. Why would anyone want to know about my problems?
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like hard, right? When you're going through an emotional breakdown, like, do you want to share that with people, right? And like, but the truth of the matter is anytime I see someone going through something intense, like if I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh, that's intense, I'll like definitely chime in. If I resonate with it, I'm going to stay there. And if it's too intense, I'll keep scrolling along. But the truth of the matter is you will always resonate with what you're meant to resonate with. And so I know for me, I've been trying to make it a point that when I am mentally struggling with something to like make a video or at least write like a journal entry about it so I can talk about it later. And maybe I don't want to show myself in that state if I'm crying or going through stuff, but I do want to express it later on down the road.
Yeah. And like, I know, I mean, because the content that you've been sharing lately too, it's been more like open, and you've been getting a lot of like comments and calls and everyone's like, oh my gosh. Like the best thing I ever did was that day when my mentor was like, share more. So I shared, a more like not perfect photo and just kind of like broke down, like literally wrote exactly kind of what I said. I was like, hey, I've been too scared to share what's on my mind because like I don't, but like, there's a way to write it too. You write like the intro, the middle, and then you don't just end it with like a sob story. You end it with like, well, kind of like this is how I'm going to make it better sort of thing. And the amount of comments I got that day was insane, to the point where that's how Sasha Robati and I became friends, because he saw my post and he was like, Alex, I feel the same way about being a creative, and then we became friends that way. Like all because of an Instagram post during 2020. And then I was like, oh, I like sharing all my stories. So it made me way more just like open about that. So, and you said, how you said earlier in your clips, you said making small changes. It was like that, like making small changes led to like here. Now I feel comfortable like sharing all this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, in the beginning, when you start sharing this stuff, it feels extremely uncomfortable. I know for the last couple of months, I was having like almost panic attacks and nervous breakdowns when we were preparing all this content to be like shared. And I literally was like getting calls by like friends and and I'm like, hey, I need to talk for a second. I'm like freaking out. I don't know if I should be sharing this. I feel like people are not going to like it. What if anybody doesn't like it? What if nobody sees it? And like, what if I put all this time and effort and it was for nothing? Just like thinking every possible negative, horrible, bad situation when it's like, at the end of the day, the whole worst situation is nobody would have watched my videos and I at least would have been able to express myself. But then like you said, like the moment I started posting, it's like all my friends and family that are close, they're like, oh, I didn't even know you were going through that. And thank you for sharing that. It explained a lot about what I was going on in my life and just kept getting like random small, and it's like, I don't even really look at the likes of my posts anymore or anything like that. I like really like the comments. And when people personally text and call me and want to talk about stuff, like that really is what resonates with me. And I've been getting a lot of those recently. So that's been great. Yeah. So it feels right. And when you start doing what feels right, everything else will fall into place.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Have you ever seen the movie Doctor Strange? Okay. The most recent one where like when you dream, you go into different dimensions.
Did I see the most recent one?
Long story short, I feel like that's true because like
100%.
I think that when we're dreaming, we're literally just us living out another possibility in a different universe.
100%.
Because like sometimes the things make complete sense, sometimes they don't. I also have been like reading a book called The Inner Work, which talks about like every dream is really sending you a message and helping you process things.
Wow, I so believe
And
that.
there's actually like a lot of tribes that like Vishen Lakhani, the guy who started Mind Valley, he like talked about how like people that are disconnected from technology and they live in like the Amazon jungle, and he went out there and every morning what they talk about is they literally gather as a tribe and they discuss their dreams and they try to interpret their dreams. And one of the people there, for example, that went on this journey with him to this Amazon tribe, she actually saw this tribe in her dreams every night for a month. And she's the reason that this indigenous tribe was saved. And these hundreds of thousands of acres of land were literally saved because they literally were like summoning her. Like they literally were praying every day for someone to come and help and save the rainforest. And literally this person saw it in their dreams every single night and then got summoned there. And so it's so interesting. I mean, I think definitely dreams are like interdimensional portals to other galaxies. And
100%.
yeah, it's so all right, we're moving on to the next questions here. So next question I have for you is this. What is your most successful video or videos, and why do you think they were so successful?
Okay, so the one I'm most famously known
For the editor, after we talk, put the video so people can see them.
He will.
Yeah, cool.
So my most successful video is a video called What Are They Training For? And it's me and my friend Nicole, who I talked about earlier, doing inappropriate workouts at the gym. And we started a brand new trend. And the funny part about this video is I actually had just done an interview for Gold's Gym for a documentary in that outfit. So the outfit's iconic, okay? And then we go to film this video. It was her idea because it's not usually my type of content. She's a bit more on the inappropriate side, but I'm like down, whatever. We filmed the video in like 5 minutes because we've never seen anyone else do it before. And then she sits there and edits it. And because I had the bigger account, we're like, we'll just post it on the account. I was like, whatever. We post it, we go do our workout, we're just like blah, blah, blah. And then I open my phone like an hour later and it's like already at like 500K. And we're just like, holy fuck. I was like, dude, if a video blows up this fast, this is whoa. And like we would go to dinner and it's already at like 3 million, then it's at like 10 million. And it ended up getting 28 million views. And
28 million?
28 million views.
28 million?
I think it got me like 100 or 200,000 followers because of that. And it, not only was it famous.
56 million eyeballs. You realize that.
Yes, but listen to this. Not only was it famous on my profile, every meme account ever took it. World Star, like Barstool Sports, it was everywhere. The craziest part, this is the craziest one. The next morning I woke up, and right when I woke up, I opened my phone and 50 Cent had posted it. And he didn't tag us. And because I was like, well, it's early enough, I commented. I was like, hey, that's our video. Could you make sure to tag Nicole and I? And then his intern or whoever actually tagged us. And so then I think I got like 10,000 followers on Instagram just from that post. That was insane. And then like every outlet ever was posting it. That video kept getting reposted for at least a year. At least like 5 times a week I would get another notification. It was all over the place. And I was just like, great. You know, I was like sick. I remember that was like the craziest like 2 weeks of fame from one video. And then My friend Vito.
Time out. I just
Yeah.
want to explain the video. Well, you're going to see the video.
They'll see
but,
the
like,
video as a play.
It's inappropriate.
It's very inappropriate.
But it's hilarious. It's so funny.
It's
Yeah.
very not like my normal videos.
No, and that's the funniest part about this is like she got 28 million views. It had nothing to do with Sasha, but it was just you just following your intuition. You're like, sure, let's just do it.
Whatever, I'm down.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's called a collab right there,
It's
right?
called a collab. Yeah.
And then because we knew it was so good, and I have been like, if it works once, do it again. Now this was Nicole's idea though, so we had like an interesting thing here because it was Nicole's idea, but it blew up on my account.
Yeah.
So you have this little tippy toe thing where I was like, I don't want to anger her because it's her. It was just weird for a sec because of that situation.
Yeah.
But then we got a brand deal to do a second one. So I hit up my friend Vito and I was like, hey.
You're a brand deal.
No, I said, listen, we will make a second video and we will tag whatever brand wants it. And we knew it was going to go viral again because we're going to wear the same outfits. That was key.
Yeah.
She was wearing blue and I was wearing these red leggings. And I didn't have pink hair yet in the first one. And so then my friend Vito found this like no name like supplement company. And all we had to do was tag them in the description or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't even use the product. So we made a part 2. I had pink hair this time. So I was like, great, I'm even more noticeable now. And we filmed it and it didn't do super viral on my account, but I sent it to a really big meme page because I have a Access to meme page.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, tag us and tag the brand. And when he posted it, then it went dumb viral again. And this was like 6 months later or something.
Wow.
Stupid viral again to the point where the manager of the Gold's Gym came up to Nicole and said, hey, you can't do that anymore. And we're like, in our head, we're like, what are you talking about? We just got your gym so much, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
it's because it was inappropriate.
Of course.
I still get tagged in that video to this day. It's about 2 years old, a year and a half old. So yeah, that shit's crazy.
Dude, that's wild.
That was
so
crazy.
how many views did you get on the second one? Just I'm curious.
On my account, it didn't get that many, but like,
I mean, just like in general, I guess, do you have an idea of like total views you got?
no, because it's all over the place.
all over the place.
I'd say it got another like couple like 10, 15, 20 million.
Wow.
But I think the first one definitely hit like over 100 million on like across the board.
Okay, got it. And so for like when you got the 28 million on that one view, how many followers do you get? I'm just trying to understand.
No, so I what I mentioned earlier, when that video hit, I think I got about like 200 to 300,000 followers.
Yeah.
Just from that video.
Oh wow.
Which is a lot, but you have to realize like the reason I hit 1 million followers so quick the first time was because I was doing a series, so you're coming back for more. This was just it was
That's
a one hit
video.
wonder. It was
Yeah,
one
but
hit
you were
wonder.
doing multiple videos that led up to people following the story and like
Yeah.
what you were about. And then this one, but one hit wonder, getting a couple 100,000 followers is still sick as fuck.
Well, and what worked though is my account already had like 1.7 million at the time. So
Yeah.
like when people click my account, they're like, oh, well, I want to follow her because clearly she's funny. She's got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
followers.
Yeah, you already had a lot of street cred.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was to the point where I would like see people, and it was like 2 weeks straight. I remember we were at Lauren and Frank's house, and it was right when it hit. I remember everyone was like, dude, holy fuck, that video is so fucking crazy. I'm like, dude, I can't believe it went that viral.
So
Like,
fucked, but it's so funny.
ironic. Okay, so that's my like biggest video like on the internet.
Yeah.
But my most like technically viral, I guess that's the most viral video. The one with the most views has 35 million views on YouTube Shorts. And it's a really silly video. It's actually a Sasha video, which I'm like, there you go. It's just this trend where I knock off a bottle and it keeps banging on the floor and I keep looking and it's keep going.
Oh,
and
you know what? I've seen this one
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
I've seen it reposted before.
Yeah, that one's been reposted a lot too. But it's got to be the what are we training for video. That was fucking crazy, dude. That was crazy. I still haven't made a video. The next craziest series I ever did, which is my favorite series, is the briefcase series, where I handcuff briefcases to people in public. I made about 20 of those videos, and a few of them have like 15, 20 million. And like, that's my favorite series because it was a series. Every time people saw it, they're like, oh, here we go. You know?
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Did you ever start putting weird shit in the suitcases?
I wanted to, but by the time I was about to, I wanted to, but when I was about to start doing it, the series kind of died.
Gotcha.
There's like a shelf life for series. You can tell when it starts to die when you repost them a couple times and they're just like,
I got it. It starts going down. Well, if you ever do it again, put something like weird in there, like a dildo. or
I
like
was
something
thinking about that.
super
Maybe I
strange.
should bring it back and just do that.
Yeah,
like out of fucking
and
nowhere.
every suitcase, but every person have something super strange and weird. So every person gets something different because then it keeps it exciting and people are like, what's going to be in the briefcase?
Yeah.
next? Yeah. Just a thought.
Okay. I'll have to do that again.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Do you actually make money from social media? Like any of the social medias, TikTok, YouTube, social, like any of them? Do you actually make dollars in your pocket just from the views that you get?
Yes. So every platform you can monetize on.
Okay.
TikTok is the worst platform to monetize on. It's like 0.00 cent per view to the point where
But why is that? Don't they have the most money?
dude, who the fuck knows? None of us know. It is the most frustrating thing in the world.
But it's also the easiest to go viral on, right?
Right. Haha. Right. That's the catch. So like, this is how we view platforms. TikTok is your portfolio, right? You can get a frick ton. If you can get 1 million followers on TikTok, that's freaking impressive, you know?
Yeah.
I think a video with 1 million views gets you like $60. Like the conversion is so ridiculous.
$60?
I'm not joking. It's ridiculous, dude.
That's really bad.
And they don't pay you per followers. They pay you per views, just so you know. So even if you have 2 million followers and you have a video that gets 2,000 views, okay.
So everybody gets paid the same price, even if you have 20 million followers.
Yes.
Got it.
So
$60. 1
yeah,
million?
I think so. It's like the average.
Rich.
Really stupid. Facebook and Instagram were paying really well at first. They did the Instagram Facebook Reels, and they were, dude, I was making like a bunch of money from, there was like bonuses up to $10,000 on Facebook and Instagram Reels, and my Facebook Reels were doing really good. And then just a couple months ago, they go, never mind, we're just gonna do ads now. And then I can't even get ads on Facebook because they think I'm reposting someone else's content, even though it's me. So they think because they think Alex is reposting Sasha's content. So I have to go yell at them a few more.
Really funny.
I know, right? However, I'll tell you right now, you know how you can do meta verification now and you can verify yourself. Everyone's like, why would you get verified? Well, big reason you should get verified is you can get access to support through Facebook and Instagram. So I have tickets working with them right now, working on my account so that I could actually monetize. So suck on that, everyone who told me not to fucking verify. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not a big deal. Verify.
not a big
There's
deal.
always benefits, but like, it's like anything in life, right? Like, even with like Yelp or these other companies, it's like pay to play. Just pay the minimum so you can play, so you can get the support and get the help that you need. Because if not, you're just like another cog in their machine. They don't care about you. And even if it's like, I understand that it can be just this extra expense every month, but there is going to be an added benefit to doing it. It's worth it. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the monetizing. Snapchat. So during the pandemic, Snapchat launched this program called Snapchat Spotlight. It's basically TikTok on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And because it was so new and Snapchat was just trying to get their, foot back in the door, they were giving away $1 million a day away on Snapchat Spotlight. So if your video just happened to do really well on a day that other people's videos didn't do well, you're going to get a piece of that, gold. And I remember I was working as a PA at the time and I would just post all my videos on there. And one day I opened up my phone and it said, I got $1,700. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then I looked down and there was another zero. And I was like,
17,000?
I got $17,000 from one video on Snapchat Spotlight.
That does not suck.
And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, do I just walk off of my film set right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I obviously didn't, but I was like, oh my God, there were so many things that I've been wanting, been wanting to do. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so that got me hooked. I was like, okay, I want to post more. Honestly, I wish I posted more on Snapchat Spotlight. I did, but like that video,
Do they not do that kind of stuff anymore?
hell no. Then they started moving to like being $1 million a month. And now I don't know anyone who makes money really off of Snapchat unless you're like a verified creator and stuff like that. But that was really cool. There were people that have made YouTube videos being like, I bought a house because of Snapchat Spotlight. Like, it's crazy, dude. They're giving so much money away. Like,
Nice.
$1 million a day.
That's a lot.
A lot. And then the best platform, always the best platform, YouTube. YouTube is literally my favorite platform right now. A lot of people don't know this, but I have like almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
No, I did not know that.
People forget like YouTube. I have like 850,000 subscribers on YouTube and it grows really fast.
Do you think that's just from posting your shorts?
It
or just
is. It's
everything?
all shorts. So I'll explain that. So they announced shorts and I was in the beta testing of shorts. So I started doing it before anyone else really could. So I was part of the shorts partner program. So I was getting paid like a salary every month based on my performance of my shorts. I never knew how much it was, but it was always like between like 1,000 to 2,000 or something, which was sick, right? And then starting at this year, they announced that they're going to take away that program and they're going to run ads on your shorts. And oh my God, my like income on that has like tripled, like the first month, I think I made $7,000 just from ads on my shorts because of the views they were getting. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll pay my rent, my bills, that'll be traveling money. You know what I mean? I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And my shorts blew up so fast too that I'm now almost at like 1 million subscribers. And then now I do long form every now and then too. So I try to film some stuff as much as I can just to like keep it up. However, it's like if you blew up from shorts, no one's really going to stay a lot for long form. So you need to like keep them there with long form. But I've been doing it. But I make money from long form too now. So YouTube is my favorite. I focus a lot of time on YouTube.
You mean like long form, like tutorials and that kind of
No,
stuff?
long form as in like shorts or vertical short videos. They have to be under a minute on YouTube to be considered a short. Long form is horizontal videos, like anything longer than a minute. Like,
do you just sometimes repurpose those shorter videos into like longer or
yeah,
different content?
Yep. No, I'll do that. It's really smart. I'll put together like 10 best Sasha videos and be like, most liked Russian videos on TikTok, and they'll get like 5,000 or 6,000 views. So it's really cool.
Nice.
One of my videos, I did like a walkthrough of the Wish House, and I'm so glad I did before it's gone.
Yeah.
And that got like 10,000 views on YouTube. But like for a long form video, that's like gold. So, and this is how people compare. For every 10 TikTok followers, that's equal to 1 YouTube subscriber. That's how rare a YouTube subscriber is.
Got it.
Getting someone to subscribe to your YouTube. So like when I hit that 1,000,000 mark, I'm gonna get that 1,000,000 plaque, and I'm gonna do really funny videos doing stuff with that 1,000,000 plaque, like eating dinner off of it, like playing frisbee. That's what Sasha would do.
Nice. Where are you at now? Like 900 something?
It's like 857, but it's like it grows so
grows
fast.
regularly.
Other thing about YouTube, a lot of people don't know, you can, when you have access to this, you can post stories on YouTube and they last for 1 week. My stories get like hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube.
I did not know that.
It's insane. You also have a community board. So on my community board, like my virtual assistant will go in and repurpose all my Instagrams and run polls and stuff, and they're all scheduled out. So that way my community is constantly engaged. Like I get more likes on my community posts on YouTube than I do on Instagram.
What is a community post?
So it's just like, it's like a feed, you know? And they'll post like my photos or run polls that'll be like, hey, do you like summer or winter better? Just stuff. And they'll get like 10,000 votes, you know what I mean? Or like post photos from my trips and it'll just be like 10,000 people like this. And I'm like, because YouTube is worldwide. That's the biggest difference is YouTube is like, my audience is everywhere. India does not exist on TikTok. So I have a lot of Indian followers on YouTube. But yes, to answer your question, you do get paid. That's through the apps. Now, the best way to get paid is through brand deals. If you can get a manager and brand deals, if you're a UGC creator, which is like making content for brands as yourself, and then, or you can go out and not have a manager and find brand deals yourself, but like negotiating is always hard. You know what's crazy though? I don't see as many brand deals as I used to in the past. People don't get them as much, but like I've had a brand deal for like OkCupid for like $7,000 just for one video. So if you get some good brand deals, they pay out well.
Nice. And OkCupid was just, what did they pay you to do?
Make a video.
What for what product? Or was it
OkCupid. OkCupid had an app. You know, they used to be a website for dating, and now they have an app.
I did not. That's okay.
Okay, sorry. OkCupid is a dating website, but it was like an eHarmony, and they made an app like Bumble, and so they wanted to promote that.
Got it. And do they track the ROI that they get from these things with you? And do they explain that to you?
No, and the only way they would probably be able to track is they make me put the link in my bio, but I would remove my entire link tree and just have their link.
Yeah.
Up for like 7 days. You have like a whatever. So if people click that, cool. But like sometimes you really can't track that because like sometimes I will see a product on TikTok like 5 times, and then one day I'll remember and I'll Google it. You can't track that. You know, you can't. I didn't click the link. So that's the hard part with these videos is sometimes you can't really just track the ROI.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Before we segue here, I have one last question that I kind of want to get some answers on. So for anybody trying to get into like the social media space, or I guess I know TikTok is where you have the most, but let's just talk about like videos in general. What would be like your top 3 tips that you'd give people in general when it comes to posting on social media? And what do you think are the things that are most important?
Okay, so these are like the top 3. Okay, I'm going to rephrase it too. So like, okay, these are the top 3 tips if you're just starting on social media. The first one is watch social media. Watch what other people are doing. Watch what's working, watch what's trending, watch what people are liking, watch the trends. Because, you know, if you're just making videos and they're not doing super well at first, maybe you're not hitting the right audience. So watch. You know, it doesn't have to be hours a day. And pick whatever you want. There's TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. There's so many different things. I will tell you right now, though, all the original jokes that you've ever seen all originate from TikTok, and then they get reposted on Instagram like 4 weeks later.
Gotcha.
So everything you see on Instagram Reels, we've already seen on TikTok.
Gotcha.
The second advice is...
So, I mean, it might even be smart for you to just go ahead and just see if it trend on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you start doing it on Instagram.
Yep, exactly. My next advice is... I guess there's 2 of them. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with that last one. Like, you just have to kind of stop caring what people think about you, really, though. Like, the best thing I ever did was I stopped And again, I'm not saying like, oh, I don't care what people think, but I let go of like, oh, everyone's judging me, da da da. And I just started making what made me happy. And it was so much fun. Like you have to have fun doing it. That's the other thing too. You have to have fun doing it. And you kind of have to let go of like this, like, oh, everyone's thinking certain things about me. Like probably no one is, you know, people have so many other things going on in their life. They're not thinking about they'll see your video, go hot and go to something else. And then make sure you're having fun with what you're making, because if you're not having fun with it, like you're going to be able to read that. And then the last one is when you're starting to make content, you know, it's quantity over quality at first. Figure out exactly what you want to do. Make everything. When I was first on TikTok, I made everything. I made stupid dance videos. I made stupid makeup tutorials. I made trend videos. I tried everything. I was actually scrolling back through my TikTok a couple days ago, just laughing at all the kinds of things I tried.
Was it just to like see what you liked?
It was just to see what would hit and what I liked. Yeah, like maybe I like doing this. No, I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
And I will never forget when I started making my Sasha videos. I was like, oh, I like this. Like I like this, you know?
Yeah, but you gotta see what you're passionate about, right?
But right, so like think about it this way. The reason you want to do quantity over quality at first is because let's say you make the greatest video in the world that would go viral right now if you had 1 million followers, but because you have 0 followers and you only posted one video once a week, no one's ever going to see it, you know? Like you posted one video and maybe it could go viral, but post more, right? And so if you post a lot more and more, you'll start to have more eyeballs on you. And then you can repost that old video that would have went super viral. Then when you finally get to a place like where I currently am at now, I post like every couple of days, really fire videos though. I don't just post like every day anymore. I post like only fire videos every couple of days. I used to have a heart attack back in the day. I would be like, I haven't posted today. It's the end of the world. And then my friend Storm was like, hey, I only post every other day. It really like helps you. And I started doing that and I was like, this is great, you know?
Yeah.
So
giving yourself a little breather.
Yeah, but don't be afraid to try everything and don't be afraid to look like an idiot too. It's really fun. It's just like progress photos when you're a fitness influencer, when you're doing fitness. It's fun to look back at the befores. When I look back at my old Russian videos where I'm like, hello, I Sasha, you know, it's so funny. I need to make videos about them. I'm just like, but it was me then. So, you know, I embrace it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing those tips. Okay. So what I'm thinking is we're going to go ahead and end now, but this is how we're going to end it.
Okay.
I want you to give all your information, tell people that. And then
my social security number is.
And then what we will do is you and I will do another session when we just need to do more content. But what I want to do is I will ask you all the questions, and then I want you to ask me all the questions.
Yeah.
So we'll like have those, because I think
that.
those will be good, like just like 1 minute clips.
We'll do it at the studio.
Yeah, we can do it at the studio. Just whenever we have like a little bit extra time, we can do that. Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Jonaz podcast. We're stoked to have Miss Sasha, Miss Alex Drachnik from Drax Social here today. And I'm gonna have Alex give her information. If any of you are looking to get tips to essentially get a consultant, maybe for your social media brand, to just know how to do better videos, whether it's videos, podcasts, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, she really does have an expertise in all the above, and she can help you come up with the creative for all of it. So I'm going to let Alex give her personal information, her social security number, her
credit card
birthday,
number,
where she lives, so that you can find her,
name.
hunt her down, and stalk her. So please go ahead, Alex.
So we're called Drax Social, Drax Social. Oh, it'll be right here. Editor, put it right here, not in my face. And then it's Drax Social on Instagram, TikTok, and then all my personals are at Drachnik, Drachnik. I feel like I'm on the phone right now with my doctor, like Drachnik. Anyway, I'm very easy to find on the internet. You just type my name in on Google and you will find everything. Let's just put it that way. I'm even on famous birthdays. Okay, bye.
Thanks for being here. I love you so much.
I love you. Yay.
All right, cool. Finito.
Cut.